So to me, this reads as inflammatory language. This headline refers to a televised address where Gaddafi claims that young protesters have been manipulated and misled by external actors and given drugs. Sounds like the CIA playbook. But anyway, he alleged in this speech that drugs had been distributed in Libya to fuel the chaos. Later in the same speech, he went on to reference I'm not saying that name. The accusations of infiltration of drugs were widely reported in both the Western and Arab media at this time. It's not absurd to think that might have happened. This is selectively putting drug use and blames and bin Laden together. Blames sets a dismissive tone. It suggests that Gaddafi is deflecting from his own accountability. And then putting bin Laden and... don't say bad words. Putting drug use in the same sentence takes a longer speech and isolates the most absurd pieces without any context. Nothing is said about the reference or why he said Dimhama, who had, by that point, been CIA trained and was openly calling for Arab revolution. The context of Gaddafi's speech was that he spoke about tribal destabilization in Libya. He mentioned foreign manipulation and infiltration, claims that are consistent with UN findings. What this article fails to mention was NATO's role, or the fact that by this stage, protests had escalated into armed conflict, with weapons suddenly appearing in rebel groups in key cities like Benghazi. This headline preemptively discredits any mention of foreign involvement, reducing the entire counter-narrative to a cartoon version. And drugs. It gives the reader no analytical tools to assess the validity of Gaddafi's claims, despite the fact that foreign-funded rebel groups were confirmed by the New York Times, Al Jazeera, and WikiLeaks. Gaddafi, delusional and unpredictable. This was published the day he was killed. The quote, delusional and unpredictable, is not attributable to any specific individual. It appears to be just editorial framing. The terms delusional and unpredictable are clinical in tone, but lack attribution. There's no source, there's no citation, and there's no psychological evaluation. This is just a declarative label. Somebody thinks he's delusional. Hard reporting by Al Jazeera. The subheading reads, self-styled revolutionary who ruled Libya with an iron fist said he would rather die than step down. The phrase iron fist is a subjective metaphor. It's not a legal or academic descriptor, and it completely ignores Libya's free healthcare, free education, social housing, the highest score on the Human Development Index, the fact that they had the lowest infant mortality rate and the highest life expectancy in Africa. He did say he would rather die than step down, but this presentation is designed to portray that as madness. I'd argue it's political conviction. Like publishing this on the day that he dies just to reinforce the idea that he was erratic creates psychological closure. A madman has died, mission complete. No mention of any of the war crimes that were committed during his capture, which have been documented by Human Rights Watch. A more suitable heading may have read something like, Gaddafi killed as rebels seize control, NATO under scrutiny. And this one, grisly death, emphasizes violence, both visually and emotionally. It is legitimate his death was grisly. But notice that this does not question those grisly forces that enabled it. NATO airstrikes. Libya's revolutionary road is trying to legitimize regime change, implying that the revolution is still unfolding. It sanitizes the larger intervention and basically makes it sound like Libya has been on this difficult journey rather than the chaos being caused by Western interference. A neutral alternative would read something like Gaddafi killed during conflict. International role in Libya's future questioned. And then this one, narcissist, deranged. That's not journalism. This is highly emotive from the Telegraph. And down here, plaything for a jubilant mob. That's focuses on the spectacle. not the implications of the NATO-backed chaos. This is not news, this is punitive narrative construction. It dehumanizes the subject. Calling Gaddafi a narcissist does more than insult him. It reframes political assassinations as psychological comeuppance. This is not an obituary, it's a moralistic judgment. The headline is implying that his death was deserved. Even if Gaddafi is a narcissist, it's irrelevant. What does that tell us about Libya's oil nationalisation, or the dinar, or NATO's motives, or the civilian casualties, or the African geopolitics? Nothing. Narcissism is a personality trait, not a crime. It's certainly not a political position. This is character assassination. It implies that his death was deserved simply because of who he was. And deranged is an interesting word. Any narrative not aligned with Western imperialist thinking is positioned as deranged. Yes, anti-imperial messaging is deranged. He wrote in his Green Book about a third way beyond either capitalism or communism. He promoted Pan-Africanism and he funded the infrastructure for it. He opposed the US and its foreign policy. So they must quickly brand his ideologies as deranged to shut down critique. It removes his ideas from political legitimacy. So then the Western media doesn't even have to engage them because you think Gaddafi was just deranged. Not a credible opinion, not a credible source. Apparently, according to the Telegraph.